Hello everybody, welcome back to another video of Fantastic Talks, bringing you back with another Sonic video for you guys today, and joining me in this video is Ange.
It's been a while,
hasn't it? The last time I think we did a video was Murder of Sonic. Do you remember?
Jesus, yeah.
Ages ago.
You need like a clip of like a flashback.
I'll put that final boss on screen.
What? No, I don't want this. What? Oh my god, are you fucking serious right now? Are you fucking serious right now? Why are we doing this? What is this, boss? What is this, boss?
So definitely check that out, because I was rage quitting in that video. I was actually talking about that the other day with my friend as well at work. Yeah, and that's when Superstars I think got announced as well. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So that was a while ago. So now we thought we'd come back together. You've come down to visit, so because obviously you've moved away. So
yeah, I'm going to Scotland now.
So that was actually pretty good. So I thought I'd catch you and get you to do a review with me on Sonic 3. I wanted to do this review for a while now, since the film came out. But obviously I wanted to wait a while once the film's been out long enough. So this is going to be a spoiler review. You've been warned, because there's so much we want to say that requires spoilers to be said. So you've been warned. Click off now if you don't want to watch it. If not, then happy days.
If you don't mind being spoiled.
If you don't mind being spoiled, yeah, I'm sure you've been spoiled enough times already. So enjoy the video.
Yeah.
So, where do we begin? I want to begin. We've got sort of a list here. In no particular order, because there's probably going to be things we're going to bring up that will be related to something later. So I've seen it. I've seen the film. I saw the film day 1, day 2. You saw it a little bit later.
Yeah.
You've got some different opinions compared to me, but I think some are a bit positive still as well.
Yeah. I think it depends on what mindset you go into the film with.
Yeah. I think we might be on par with some guys. Yeah. I just feel like, especially with certain scenes, I need to see it first for that cinema experience again. But let's get down to it.
Yeah.
Opening scene.
Right.
I enjoyed it. I think that was such a great way to introduce him, and they just knuckled down to it. They went straight for it. No messing around. You had Maria playing the guitar, live and learn. It was like an acoustic version, like it was setting a plot device there. Shadow like sort of dreaming of her, and then he breaks out and he kicks all the gun soldiers' ass, and then when he breaks out the prison island and the music starts playing, I really enjoyed that scene. I think that was such a great way to introduce Shadow and how much he means business. So, what do you think?
I think it's strange, like looking back, knowing the context later in the film with Gerald. Like, it would have been like nice to see maybe Gerald walk in the room or something like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know how Shadow knew how to find Gerald.
He didn't. He just
buggered off, even though it was Gerald that hacked into the system. You saw the Eggman logo.
Yeah.
But
no, you'd think it was Eggman at first.
Yeah, but it's Gerald because he's like stealing
later,
his stuff. So it's like, where did Shadow meet Gerald? I'm gonna have a lot of these weird questions.
Shadow, I don't think knows Gerald is alive, because he just goes back to the base to try and like.
Oh yeah, no, I'm having a moment. Yeah.
Just to try and like see if anything still was around.
I guess it's because I'm just comparing it to Sonic Adventure 2, where it's Eggman uncovering him from that thing. It's a bit different, but it's fine. I mean, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of thing. That wee bit, it was a good opening.
Yeah, I think it was a really good way to open up the film. Just introduce Shadow straight away. No messing around, because it got quite into the story quite quickly, because then the next scene you have Sonic and Knuckles and Tails hanging out, having a little race, and it ends up being this like Earth Day when he first came to Earth, and it goes to show that it's been a year since the first film in that timeline, which is crazy. So he's had so much shit going on in that time. But like, fuck, shit, fuck. This video's not made for kids. Just want to swear right now. Because that's a thing now, isn't it? So I want to make sure this is not for kids. Yeah, Sonic, Tails and Knuckles hanging out, birthday.
I like the Easter egg when they were just standing there as the holograms going.
Yeah, and it was like classic Sonic. So there was a lot of references in this film.
Yeah.
There was like a good amount, and I liked that. It was like very subtle as well. Because I didn't notice that at first until I saw it the second time. It was so weird. But yeah, because like after they've had their special like hangout or whatever, and they celebrate his day being on Earth, you already have Gun like arriving on the scene to recruit like Team Sonic, saying that there's been a catastrophe in Japan and stuff, and they need to like work together to stop it. Obviously, it's Shadow. But obviously, before that, because you had Tom and Sonic talking to each other, saying to Sonic, because what I like about this film, they play on the similarity of Sonic and Shadow, which the games was meant to be. Shadow was meant to be that similarity to Sonic,
like the anti-hero.
Yeah,
to Sonic.
But in the film's case, it was in terms of how he was brought up.
Yes.
You know,
how Sonic had a family while
Shadow lost his. Yeah. So, and bearing in mind, this Shadow, what I loved about this version of Shadow, he felt more lost in himself because when they talk about his origin, it was, because we're sort of cutting ahead here. When they cut to his origin, this is after the chase scene and stuff. Mm-hmm. The commander meets up with him in the Chow Garden, which, by the way, was pretty. I bet you were fucking excited to see Chow Garden, kind of the Chow Garden.
It was funny.
Yeah,
it was funny.
It was a clever way to bring in Chow and Chow Garden.
Yeah,
it was like a little cafe,
cute.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, so that was cool. But
maybe this confirms that chaos isn't going to be a thing.
That's what I'm worried about, but we'll get to that later because I've got some ideas for what the movie's going forward. Yeah, because the commander goes on about talking about Shadow's life and how his was similar to Sonic's, but the opposite. And then, but they said he crash landed on Earth, so he wasn't created by Gerald or anything like that.
No, he wasn't created. He was just, I mean, he was kind of, he is an alien.
Yeah.
In canon, but now they just went, fuck it.
Yeah.
They're just full alien. Who cares anymore?
But
whatever.
he's only in the game. He's only half alien.
Yeah.
They
were struggling to make him, and then Black Doom came and helped and assisted
to boost
DNA.
that.
Yeah. Well, in this they just went, bugger it. So maybe Doom will just come back and be like, I am your father.
Yeah, because
and that'll be a whole
because in the games, Gerald, I think he obviously bioengineered Shadow himself using the as we know all the stuff he's researched on to do like the mural that showed Supersonic resembling Shadow.
But I guess they just didn't want to go into that lore, which is I think is a bit of a shame. But here we are. I
get it though, because obviously the lore in the Sonic universe is a little bit different. There's some slight changes because obviously Knuckles' lore was different in the second movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind it because it was a fair enough lore. I didn't mind it. It was still at the Master Emerald, and Knuckles kind of felt like Knuckles, but it was a lot more grounded, a lot more warrior-like compared to the games, more Guardian-like, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, in Shadow's case, this was one of the things I was worried about with this film. Shadow, I love Shadow as a character. Everyone loves Shadow as a character. There's so many fans out there that love Shadow. And he's the one character I was worried how much they were going to change. I was worried how much of the story was going to be changed. I knew Bar Lizard wasn't going to be in it. I didn't mind, as long as they got Shadow's story right. Now, I didn't mind, because this is why I need to see the film a second time now that I knew what to expect, and I didn't mind some of the changes because it leaves open for something later, which we'll get to later. But Shadow coming from it, because you know how he came in?
In a meteor.
It looked like a meteor that looked like a black comet looking thing.
Kind of like the big thing at the end of Shadow the Hedgehog, but a lot smaller.
Yeah, the black comet.
Yeah.
But it had like little spikes coming out of it, but it looked like some sort of black arms device of some sort that he crash landed in.
I mean, he doesn't remember anything. So.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's a play on what I reckon will happen later, because...
Who am I?
Yeah, because... Well, this is the thing. This is what I love about this version of Chad, because this is what makes him feel lost as a character, because as soon as he landed, he was just experimented on, researched on, basically. He didn't know who he was. They didn't know who he was, but... Because he possessed so much power, and this was their first time discovering chaos energy, even before Sonic arrived in the scene, you know. So it makes you wonder how his energy. It makes you wonder where Shadow himself actually came from, if he has a similar energy to Sonic's, but a bit more powerful.
Yeah.
Because obviously in the games, his chaos energy is taken from the emeralds in some way, you know, that's how he was sort of engineered, and that's how he's able to use chaos powers, and resembles just a super form. But it's like, in the movie's case, they kind of just shoot it under the rug of where he's from and where he came from, which I imagine leaves room for what a supposed spin-off. I was going to say that for later, but it's implied that we might see some sort of origin story for Shadow later down the line.
Yeah.
But like but then moving on from that, is there anything you want to say about that? Was there anything that took you out of it a little bit around this sort of scene, that flashback when the commander was talking about him?
I mean, it links into things that I'll probably discuss later on.
Okay.
But like, I have like quite a few opinions on G.U.N. in the movie.
That's another thing. Yeah, because the government research facility wasn't on the Ark. That's what I was a bit worried about, that it wasn't going to be a space station. I guess is not too much of a big deal, because for that to have hung there for 50 years, surely that wouldn't have been allowed in real life time. I don't know. I don't know what they were trying to do. That's what I mean.
And loads of things exist in space.
It was an abandoned space station.
Yeah, and it does happen in real life. Like at the moment, like there's actually space laws now. There's people who study in that. Yeah. And so it wouldn't even be like that inconceivable of there being an abandoned space station, like capitalism. But here we are. Yeah. Let's go on to the chase scene.
Yeah, before we move forward, that chase scene, I loved that chase scene.
I just find it funny that Shadow just gets this motorbike out of nowhere. That's in his colour scheme, by the way. Designed just for him, right? Yeah. And a gun? So funny.
I know, I'm so glad they acted with the gun. I wish.
Oh, and the Easter egg with Sonic, like, being like, it had the exact same camera angle as the opening of Shadow the Hedgehog, like him falling over, and I was like, oh my god!
So I think that was in one of the TV spots or trailers, which is cool.
I was just like, oh, for God's sake, okay.
I knew Shadow was gonna sort of kick ass in that scene, and that chase scene was pretty good. So that was kind of their racing scene. I didn't like that, because obviously he took Knuckles out no problem, which I know we saw out in the trailer. But you didn't get to see Knuckles get his payback. I feel like the Knuckles thing to do was to have a rematch with Shadow. Yeah. Which I was kind of disappointed about.
But I think Knuckles learned in the last film that, like, teamwork is, like, very important. Yeah. And he really stuck his ground to it. He really just had his foot on the ground, and Sonic kind of went off the deep end a bit.
Yeah, which we'll get to later, because that was a really good scene.
And I think that's a reason why they made Sonic go off on the deep end, just so that he'd get to Shadow faster than Knuckles would to beat his ass up. So. Yeah. But I don't know, I kind of like it. I like it that Knuckles just went, no, I'm gonna have like the moral high ground here. The Master Emerald needs to be protected.
It did kind of give Knuckles some character development, to be fair.
Like, it made him seem very mature.
Yeah, like I didn't mind that. I think, and like Knuckles, I think a lot of people did like this version of Knuckles because of how he was presented in this film. But like, the chase scene was really good, and that, I mean, because like what I love is that he uses his powers to start the bike and move the bike, and that's how he's able to like kinetically like shoot it up in the air.
Yeah, that's sick.
Like, that was really cool, up in the skyscraper.
Oh yeah, and then like Sonic and Shadow like.
And then they clash. Oh, it was sick. Really cool. Yeah. So so literally, it was actually action right at the beginning of the film. So that was a really good starting point for the film.
And I feel like that was a reflection of that scene in Sonic Adventure 2 with the bridge. Like, that was the closest we were going to get to that sort of bridge bit.
In a way, yeah, literally.
Because they wanted to mirror that, but in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah, because, and obviously, the race and the racing scene was a little bit like Sonic X's. Yeah. Like, so, because they were racing in the city. But Shadow had the bike. But
the bike is so fun.
It was really cool.
It's cool.
I want to get the figurine with the bike, you know? At some point. And
it's just like, I know I can run through the city, but screw it, I want to look, I'm tired.
I just want to look cool, you know? He just woke up after 50 years. I think he deserves that kind of break. Let him live a little.
Screw you, gun! I'm taking your bike.
Yeah, exactly.
The bike is mine.
I like that the gun itself wasn't actually bullets. It was a laser gun, which makes sense. Cause it's still a kids' film. They can actually have proper guns. So because it's gun, they would have that kind of technology.
Yeah.
So that was fair enough. But yeah, moving on. I think when it got to when it got to Shadow getting to the facility that he was experimented in, and he starts remembering Maria again, you get to see a bit more Maria in this scene.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I want to talk about Maria, right? Now, what I liked about Maria in this film, I think her personality was really good. I think it showed a bit more of Maria and Shadow's friendship that we didn't get to see in the games much.
Yes.
Apart from the prologue of Shadow Generations showed their friendship a little bit more, and how excited she can get. But in the film's case, she does loads of activities with him. She like dances with him, gets him like just to sort of live a little, because he's lonely. He doesn't know anyone. He feels like he doesn't have.
Yeah, and she has this cheeky side to her.
Yeah.
Like he's like frowning at her, and she's like.
Yeah. And then
so
she starts making a face at him, and it was the people in the cinema giggled at that scene because it was really funny. It just showed that nice. It was Maria trying to befriend him and show him trying to get him to smile and show that we're not all bad, and Maria wanted to. She felt the loneliness in him, and she wanted to. She must have thought he was a really interesting character and wanted to.
Yeah, who wouldn't want a video game looking character?
Yeah, I know, right?
Who
doesn't want a pet hedgehog the size of fucking a 6-year-old child?
I like movie Maria a lot. I do also like game Maria a lot.
Yeah.
I think they're very distinct characters on their own. I think it's great.
Yeah, one thing I will say about Maria.
Right.
I'm surprised you haven't said this. I do think I loved how Maria was portrayed, the build up to their friendship, and when it comes to her demise, and it kind of really it's strong. But I do feel like they still watered her down a little bit because the illness.
Right. That was a big part of her.
They got rid of the illness. Now
I guess they would have thought it was too dark for kids.
But it's like, what? Why is that? That could just show awareness of what she was going through.
Exactly, and it would make more sense as to why she was on some random gun facility.
Yeah, because she just randomly moved in to the facility just so she could be with her granddad.
Yeah, I don't really get that.
That didn't really make sense to me. She didn't have to move into the facility.
Because their excuse is, Gerald loved her so much that he wanted her around all the time.
She wanted her to be close. She wanted her to be close.
She can be in a military research base, because that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was meant to be a top secret base that children shouldn't really be allowed in. So
she should have gotten really told off, especially for the cake incident.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I
think it would have been more believable if we actually had scenes with Gerald and Maria.
Yeah, because there was enough of Gerald in the flashbacks, apart from when he was telling kids
to run.
We got to leave. Yeah, so.
And that's what I was about to say. It's only that scene, and I would have believed it. Maybe he would have had this attachment to her. Maybe they could say, "Oh, she lost her parents."
Yeah.
And he has to commit to this job.
Yeah,
Instead of giving her up, he was like, in order for me to keep doing this research, my granddaughter has to be with me.
Yeah.
That would have been a great, it would have shown how much he cares about her.
If they had explained why Maria moved in, not just for the sake of just wanting to be with her granddad, but if Gerald maybe if Gerald adopted her, if you said, if her parents. I don't know, her parents randomly, she was an orphan for whatever reason, and then Gerald adopted her.
And then Gunn was like, no, you can't have her. And he's like, well, I'm not going to do the research unless I can have her with me.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, whatever, under that condition, right? And that's why they give her a special treatment. They're like, oh, you know how when she approaches, they're like, oh, Maria, she's a special guest kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
It would have made sense, but there's some bits in the movie that I feel like they could have cut out for stuff like that, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I feel like there was just some things they just hid under the rug a little bit, but regardless of because I feel like her illness would have added that depth to her friendship with Shadow, because Shadow really likes this person like a sister, and he would have felt even more distraught that she was slowly dying. Because maybe she would have caught. Why? There we go. Why? When she moved in, why couldn't she suddenly have caught? Why didn't she get diagnosed with something? Maybe randomly. Because surely she would have been living with them for quite some time, and for whatever reason, her rare illness suddenly just drops on her. While she was there, and then she's at a facility where they can research her. Like, oh, let's see what's wrong with her. Oh shit, she's dying. What's this illness? And they're researching her.
And
that's why they could experiment
realize,
Shadow a bit more. Maybe his chaos powers could somehow cure her for whatever reason.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, he can.
And that's why they got all those capsules.
He can regenerate himself, right?
Yeah.
And so they're like, why can't we do this to humans? And the same with Maria. But again, I feel like that was going too dark. I have a lot to say, but that's on the
There's
topic
so much
of
we
Gun.
could say about that, but like, regardless of that, it was still okay. Like, their friendships were still sorted for me.
Yeah, it was still great.
And why Shadow went the path he did. But I like to think in my head canon, Maria, the personality that Maria had in the movie, is what Maria had in the games, but just off screen. We just didn't see. I like to think that the two somehow.
To me, it's
mixed,
and
I think that's why that's why Maria meant a lot to Shadow.
But I also think that
she got him out of his comfort zone, you know, like his.
This is like an unpopular opinion. So a lot of people say that like Game Maria sucks now because of movie Maria, but I guess this is just my perspective and my headcanon of Game Maria. But she, I always perceived her as someone who aimed to be like the perfect girl, because she felt like she was being a burden to the people around her. And she was like, I don't want to cause more trouble than I already am. Like, people are like sacrificing so much for this research, and Shadow's doing so much. Like, I can't falter. I need to be supportive and positive and stuff because I don't want to be a burden.
Yeah.
And I genuinely, like, when people are like, oh, she's a bit of a Mary Sue, and it's like, well, not really. I feel like she's just someone who aims to be perfect and innocent, and, you know, because she doesn't want to disappoint anyone, right? They're like giving up a lot of their livelihoods to save her as a person. Yeah. And she might feel like guilt of that. Of course, this is my headcanon. And there are some facts to support it, but obviously it's not something confirmed. Yeah. But it is.
So, I mean, there's a lot of like hidden details that the games and even the films don't tell you that could have made it a lot stronger. But
like disability in real life, a lot of people feel guilt about their carers and people who care for them. And I could totally see like Maria just being like, I don't want to be a burden on anyone around me just because I'm disabled, you know? Yeah. And I think that's a strong point as well, because Shadow's like entire thing in the games, especially with Rouge at one point in Sonic 06, being like, it's not fair, Shadow's always giving himself to everyone else and he doesn't get anything back. It's similar to how Maria was like, she's always giving to other people and then being like, don't worry about me. And it shows in Shadow's personality as well. He's like, I'll help people, I don't need anything in return. But Rouge is like, no, you can't just villainize him. Just because he doesn't want anything in return. You're like taking advantage of him. I'm going on a tangent.
I was going to say.
I love Game Maria as well. I love both. They're both great interpretations of her.
Because Shadow Generations showed that very well, how much of a impact she made to Shadow, like, and because she was his light basically, and why he wanted to do good, you know, eventually after he moved on. And I feel like that's what the film does quite well in the scene where, you know, when they're in the like field. And they're having like a heart to heart, and like she really like, I can't remember what she talks about with him, but she's
saying how he's family and that, like the stars,
the star line, I knew,
shining brightly even though they've possibly died. Their light is still shining.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like it was a metaphor to Shadow, like
and a metaphor
and
of her.
Maria was that light, like in the game, like you know. So I liked that there was still that kind of like relationship to what Shadow, what Maria meant to Shadow, and I'm glad they kept that. I think that was still strong. Regardless of the subtle changes they made, and it really plays well later on as it gets to the final act. and it's such a nice line to even though the star got no. Even though
the star may
is,
be gone, the light still shines.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And it's it drives Shadow because obviously she's his driving force for his revenge, obviously, as we knew it was going to be.
Yeah, because Maria was essentially his whole world.
Yeah, and it was the only friend he had that actually didn't treat him like a freak. You know, that's why it was so special. That's why it was so strong. So when they had all those cute moments together, like dancing, and she throws popcorn in his face and stuff like that, it was stuff like that. That was really nice to see that we never seen before. It was so good.
Yeah.
And like Shadow, we got to see this whole different personality to Shadow as well that we barely got to see in the games.
Yeah.
Like he was this very friendly side to him that was like so like lost,
he felt like a child.
Yeah. You know,
it was like sort of his childhood.
Yeah, it was just like he just let people just do what he needed to do just so he could find out about himself as well, I guess. But Maria was the only one that actually made him feel like a person, you know, and that's what I liked about the driving force that Shadow had in this film later, because obviously he relived it over and over again whilst he was trapped for 50 years. What I loved about Shadow later, he started to get very conflicting with himself. It was like, what he's doing. Is it right? Because in the game, he thinks what he's doing is completely right. He this is what Maria wanted. I'm gonna get revenge.
Sense.
You know?
It makes sense in the context of the game.
Because of the government.
Yeah. Because of G.U.N, which we'll have a long talk about that.
Yeah.
But in this film, because he was isolated, but Maria introduced him to things outside of the world, and I think he gained more of a perspective of how many people there are and how he can't judge them.
Yeah.
On G.U.N.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah. So he sort of understood that there was some humans that are okay because he thought the commander was actually not a bad of a dude when he was at the facility when he was young, because he tried to stop the soldiers from chasing after them, like don't what you doing, don't shoot, whatever, blah. And then obviously the accident happened. But obviously. When Shadow sees the commander, it's obviously not the commander because the commander died when the egg robots like attacked him or attacked the Chow Cafe, and then because obviously Tom is in disguise to get the key card for the facility, and then when Shadow sees that it's not the commander, he's like, oh, what the heck? What?
Yeah.
Oh no, because you start to feel like, oh shit, he wasn't meant to hurt him. He doesn't want to hurt him. Like it was just the commander he was after. And then when he sees Sonic like in distraught, like he's just there like, oh shit. Like he has that slight confliction.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, what have I done? But then he's like, no, I've done the right thing. I've come for this. I had to do this. So and then he just fucks off. So I'm like, I liked there was that slight change to Shadow's character, that he knew he didn't want to hurt him because it was the wrong person, but he knew he still wanted to get his revenge, so he just carried on. And then it comes into fruition later. This is when it drives Sonic later, and you start to see this different side of Sonic that starts to feel like Shadow a little bit, and it's the plot device coming to fruition of what Tom told him earlier.
Yeah. Don't
lose what's inside of your heart, even if things get
your
rough. Something like that. Yeah, in my lungs.
In my lungs.
So.
Yeah,
and then when he comes after him,
comparison. And then he's just like, well, no, I had people who loved me and supported me, and he began to understand why Shadow is the way he is.
Exactly, because he started to realise that, Shadow grew up with losing someone. He lost his whole family, but Sonic has too, because he lost Longclaw in the first film. And then they have that moment on the moon and stuff, and like
that scene was awesome.
He was basically the Amy to Shadow, when Amy convinced Shadow to change his ways, and Shadow remembered what he was actually meant to do for Maria.
And then, oh my god, I
was gonna say
the hand scene.
We kind of skipped ahead here. There's a few things we've missed here.
I know we've spoken about Shadow. And we're doing the Sonic and Shadow similarity.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I definitely want to mention Gerald at one point. Gerald and Eggman's relationship.
That's next, but wait.
Yeah.
When they go super and
when it got to the scene, the clap, and then it started playing the Live and Learn theme ever so subtly, I'm like, oh yes.
That was so
fun. It would have been such a missed opportunity if they didn't.
Live and Learn.
Even before that, we definitely skipped ahead here. before that, when Super Sonic came after Shadow. No,
Well,
even before then, I want to sort of get back a little bit because there's so much of this film I want to talk about. When Sonic thought he lost Tom, he wanted his revenge against Shadow.
And then he like forced the Master Emerald off Knuckles, and Knuckles was like, "Yeah, I'll give it to you."
But that tension was so good. That was such a good scene. Knuckles was like, "No, Sonic, you're gonna calm down. I'm not giving you the Emerald. We made a pact, sort of thing." And Sonic, I'm not gonna ask you again, Knuckles. And I thought they were gonna fight again. You know, that would have been sick. And Tails like, "No, what are you guys doing?"
Was like really good.
It really showed that development of Knuckles. Knuckles learned that it's like, this is not the way. I'm gonna be the better man here. Sonic, just calm down. We'll find another way. And Sonic just didn't. I think Knuckles, because Knuckles told him in the end, didn't he? Because Sonic then went to Wade, which I fucking knew was gonna be the person that had the Emerald. I knew it was gonna be it. I knew it was gonna appear at some point.
I gave it to my top guardian. I wasn't fucking Wade doing cocky with the gun.
Yeah, exactly.
For God's sake.
I wasn't a fan of the Knuckles series. I'm one of those people that wasn't a fan. I just thought Wade was a little bit annoying. I don't know. I hope the next spinoff would be better, and the next spinoff better be considering. But we'll get to that later.
But Knuckles being like, give it to my finest warrior.
Yeah,
fucking Wade.
I know.
So funny.
I fucking knew. I literally said that to my mate. I fucking knew it. I literally turned to him like, "Fuck," and they all laughed.
Good though.
But like,
it was hilarious.
But then, but when Sonic got the Emerald and he fucking full on went like, "Yeah," and he shoots off, and then
when he grabs,
and then when he fucking smashed through the arc. We'll get to that in a minute. He smashes through the Eclipse cannon. And like Shadow's like, "Yeah, how does it feel to be angry? And now you know the pain I felt for 50 years, blah blah." I'm like, Shadow's really like, I don't know if that was just a.
Keanu Reeves did pretty well.
Do you know what? Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't even said that. Keanu Reeves played him so well. I wasn't sure about him because in the trailers, I wasn't sold on him yet.
Very adult-like.
Yeah.
But you kind of get used to it.
When you really hear him. When he has like the sweet Maria, I can hear the Shadow in it. I hear that it's the right kind of voice. And then when he really gets angry and like starts having a go at Sonic, you really feel it. He voiced him so well. But the scene where he takes Shadow to the just out into space, and Sonic's like really angry, and then I don't know what happens because Shadow. Oh yeah, because they land on the moon. They landed on the they land back on Earth, but in like a volcanic area.
Yeah, and they just go through like so many places.
But then he loses when they land on Earth again. He loses Shadow, and then Shadow appears out of nowhere and attacks him. He knocked the Supersonic out of him, like Knuckles did.
So funny.
Which it makes sense because Shadow has the Chaos abilities to do that, you know. So that made sense.
Shadow goes super.
And it was epic. He looked so cool. And that.
I bet you were losing it.
Oh my god! I can't believe that scene in the trailer was what that scene was because he wasn't Superform in the trailer. Neither was Sonic. And then when you see it in the film, they edit it so to surprise everyone, and that was so clever. Oh my god! But he looks so good, and I'm glad he wasn't full on yellow. They actually went with the actual like
platinum.
Yeah, it was so clever. And then they went full on fighting, and that's what I was hoping for because of Sonic X.
The fight seems pretty badass.
Yeah, it was like because like in Sonic X they only had like a very small fight scene in their super forms during the Meta X saga, and obviously when they fought in their base forms, they barely fought. It was just a couple of races here and there. But when they fought in their super forms in the movie, it was so good. The thing is,
you can tell that whoever was animating it was like a Sonic and Shadow like fanboy.
Either Sonic and Shadow fanboy or also Dragon Ball fanboy. Because
just bloody.
The comparison I saw fans do, like I've seen people with comments saying this is the closest we'll ever get to a Dragon Ball like film or whatever, blah blah blah, or Dragon Ball like fight, something like that. But it was so good. But I wish it went on a little bit longer. I think the fight on their super forms was over too soon. Because then when he starts like taunting Sonic, like you left your friends. What kind of a friend leaves their friends behind, or something like that? And Sonic starts to get a little bit angrier, and then because Shadow's looking all like badass and shit, like really like having a go at him, making him angry, and Shadow's like, oh, and who abandons their I don't know what he says because he starts mentioning Tom, And Sonic's like, don't you dare say his name.
Yeah. What was it?
Tom? And he fucking goes for that punch. He does a fuck-on punch to him.
So good.
It was so good because it shows Sonic's strength, that he can take on the ultimate life form. And Shadow was proper swinging him about everywhere and stuff, you know?
Oh, it's so good.
It was such a good fight. It was a shame it was kind of over too soon. And then it gets to that scene where he's on the moon and Supersonic's got him by the chest again. And he's like, go on, do it. Do it, right here. I
in
think,
my lungs, sorry.
I think, yeah. Because it's what triggers Sonic. It's such a clever... I think the plot device at the beginning of the film... The narrative in the film was actually very cleverly done. Because it then comes back round on itself later. Which is very clever. It really shows the Sonic's development and how he almost could have turned out like Shadow if he lost his family and didn't find Tom. You know? If Shadow didn't lose Tom, he could have been a bit more like Sonic. No, if didn't lost Maria and Gerald, he would have been more like Sonic maybe in terms of personality, kind of ish.
Or just less depressed.
Yeah, bit more happy, a bit more smiley. Now and then, but when it came down to it, I think Shadow wanted Sonic to kill him because he wanted.
He was just like, you've proved me wrong.
Yeah.
So just end it.
Just end my suffering, please. And then Sonic.
And Sonic was just like, no, that isn't the end for you. Just because you suffered once doesn't mean you're not worthy of having a life. Because he's an example of that.
Exactly.
He lost someone close to him, and yet he was able to get in a family and stuff. And Shadow's equally as deserving.
Even then, Sonic lived most of his life alone, but he still had a hell of a time. He just went around traveling, getting loads of stuff.
Being a menace.
Yeah, but he didn't let that get him down. You know, which is the Sonic thing to do. You know, Sonic wouldn't let anything like that bring him down. Like, he would move on and, like, prove to himself that, like, of what his friends and what Longclaw would have wanted.
Yeah, and he represents freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what.
And so making that choice of killing Shadow goes against that very freedom that he claims. And I guess it goes to Sonic in the games where he never kills Eggman because it goes against his very values. He's not someone to decide whether someone should die or not.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he likes to give like robots like Metal Sonic a chance and stuff. And
he hates metal.
He hates metal now.
I love how much Sonic hates metal
in the comics. Yeah,
in the comics,
yeah.
He's just like,
you just had to go back to him, didn't you? Like you could have been like Shadow, you could have been like Omega, but no, you had to just be loyal to him, you know.
But he'd never kill him, and
no.
I just great. Anyway,
yeah, and then he starts to reason with Shadow. Look, I've lost someone too. It's not but you've obviously lost so much more than I have. But it's not too late to start again. And then it triggers Shadow a little bit. I've felt this pain for so long. It's all I've ever known, you know. And then Sonic tries to reason with him, like, if you screw something up, you can always try again to mend it, you know. And then he offers his help. You can't do it on your own. And obviously the dap up after like Shadow remembered what Maria actually wanted, because the whole light shines even though the star's gone. He starts to realize what that actually meant, you know. And then so Maria's kind of always with him in his heart. You know, that was the whole plot device, you know? Yes. So, and then, that team up. And Live and Learn started playing. It was a really cool orchestral kind of guitar, a slight guitar orchestral version of it. And when they full on clapped to transform, like they did in the game. When they like, I think when you beat BioLizard, they do that. And then they just sort of pose a little bit. And then they get more friendly with each other, because like Sonic's like, gotta go fast, and Shadow's like, oh, don't tell me you've got a catchphrase. And he's like, that's right, new hedgehog, and everyone loves it. Kind of everyone loves it. But it is basically his little like motto, his catchphrase.
Yeah, it's so good.
It is his catchphrase. And then they shoot off in the air. And then this is when the bit gets really it takes me out of it a little bit.
Right.
Because I was so into those scenes of Sonic and Shadow, especially when Sonic came in, crashed through the facility the Eclipse Cannon, to fight Shadow. But every now and again it would cut to Eggman and Gerald. So before we move on to their final act, I want to talk about Eggman and Gerald quickly. Now, it was great. This is why I was worried about Gerald being alive.
In my opinion, I think Gerald was the weakest part of this film. I feel like the most depth he got was at the end, but I feel like if we had a scene with Maria and him, it would have solidified that, but it didn't. But I don't know. There
were a couple of moments where he was serious. You know, when he was all like, "Oh, Ivo, you're no Maria." I was like, "Oh shit," because he was saying like, "I don't actually care about you," sort of thing, basically. And then he was really like, what's the word? Like, going into him, basically. And Eggman was a bit distraught about it. I was like, oh, okay, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then and this is when Shadow starts to be a bit more conflicting, because when Shadow and Gerald are in a scene together, because I think Eggman sort of walked away a little bit at one point, and then Shadow and Gerald talk a little bit. And Shadow's like, Gerald, Professor, is this actually the right thing to do? Is this what Maria would have wanted? And then Gerald was like, this is everything we've been waiting for, Shadow. This is our chance to, to make everyone pay, basically. Something like that. It seems like that. He was actually serious.
Yeah.
But then when it seems of Eggman, he's way too goofy, and it takes me out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
When it's during the super scenes, when they were, because why didn't we get to have Gerald and Eggman in some sort of like, because mech suits, because who's the tech that Gerald had, it was like nanotech.
It reminded me of Scorpion from Spider-Man.
A little bit
with the tail and stuff.
Yeah, with the little like weird, what's it called? The pincers. Is it pincers?
Oh no, I mean Gerald had the like tail. And then,
the scorpion claws. Yeah.
And then Eggman had the like cricket.
Yeah, I just thought.
Why?
I don't know if that.
I'd love to be in a storyboard room to see
why. Was
why.
that reference to some badniks of Eggman's? Maybe.
Yeah, there is
one. I think there was, wasn't there? But maybe that's why. But it's like,
I don't know, it just doesn't.
It didn't really.
Why not one of his boss like robots?
Like,
I get they wouldn't have it on the Ark.
Why wasn't it like, because the big hand he had? Why wasn't it a big arms mech that Gerald had?
Yeah, like the
from Sonic 3. Yeah, that would have been sick. And they could have been full on fighting like some big hands and stuff and chucking each other all over the facility. I don't understand why it had to be so like silly. Goofy, like and silly. Like, I know.
It really took out of the scene. I can't believe Gerald just died like that. Jesus.
I know. I was
literally me and my friend were literally looked at each other like.
Yeah.
Did he just die?
Yeah, like a bug zapper, basically. That's what he said in the film. Yeah. But like, the thing. Do you want to know? Why I feel like Eggman and Gerald were a lot more goofy in this film. I genuinely think it's because of Jim Carrey, because this is possibly Jim Carrey's final role as Eggman.
Yeah, but now he said he wants to do another one.
I know,
like a cheeky bugger.
I know, because he said that in the after the second film. But the way Eggman's character ends in this film seems like a full circle for him, because he ends up saving the world rather than ruling it.
Yeah, as much as it was kind of cringe, like, oh, you are my friend, not the gay.
There's some weird shipping there with him and Agent Stone, I feel like.
No,
and I think
it's
I was being really subtle. Yeah.
Now, because like Eggman going, yeah, I don't appeal to either sex. And it's just like, oh, he's bisexual.
Yeah,
I
remember that.
Maria,
oh yeah,
we cackled so loud in the cinema.
Was that when he was talking with Sonic in the facility? Yeah. That scene was funny. Yeah.
I don't appeal to either sex.
yeah.
I was dying of laughter. So funny.
Yeah.
Just that Snap Cube meme. He's bisexual. I didn't know that. By the way, I'm bisexual.
Yeah.
There's this weird scene that they're just making fun of, like Eggman possibly being bisexual.
Okay. So it was a reference to that scene or whatever.
Maybe.
Okay, because I'm not aware of it, so.
Oh, sorry, it's like the Sonic Rider Snap Cube.
Oh, right.
And Eggman's just like, I will give this emerald to my husband and or wife, and he cuts off the feed.
Oh.
And then Sonic goes, he's bisexual, I didn't know that.
Oh, is this that dub?
Yeah.
The parody?
Like,
yeah, I'm aware of it.
Oh, I'm bisexual.
Is that the one that did the Adventure 2 on the Shadow the Hedgehog?
Yeah,
I'm aware of them. Yeah.
I wonder if that was like a nod to Snap Cube.
Maybe.
He was just like, Eggman's bisexual. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I remember.
My man's so desperate, he's bisexual, even though he has someone literally simping for him right next to him.
Literally.
And he's like, oh, you are my friend. Right at the end.
Yeah.
Stone got fucking
and then he just walks away really sad, yeah.
What if Metal Sonic was by Stone?
I want to get to that. I have an idea.
Stone being like the next Eggman. Oh, that would be sick.
I have a feeling, yeah. I want to
kind of like Dr. Starline.
Yeah, I'm gonna save that. Right. that.
Okay.
So Gerald Yeah.
And so Eggman and Gerald's relationship, I'm gonna be honest, I think it's an interesting take. I don't know, I did like that they brought a connection to them that wasn't in the games, because in the games, basically, Eggman was very, like, especially in Frontiers, there's hints that he is resentful to his family, and how they put all their energy into Maria, and he sort of felt left out.
Yeah.
Like, he respects his grandfather, but he also kind of resents his family. But that's all we know. That's all we know.
Yeah.
But in the movie, it did build something, but at the same time, there were moments that were just cringe.
It did take me out of it a little bit. When it was the Gerald and Eggman scenes, I was like, oh god, I don't know, it's because it's gone on a little bit too long and all that.
And we could have cut those scenes for things that were more, that would have been like, that would have made the movie perfect. But
especially that dance scene. Now, Unless
they changed the music to "I Am the Eggman."
Yeah, I'm
fine. I'm
surprised they didn't do that, but I didn't mind the dance scene. I was shaking my head a little bit. I was like, oh, fuck's sake, of course, yeah. But this is the Jim Carrey thing to do, I feel like. So I feel like he was going all out in this film in case it was his last role. That's why I feel like he was a lot more goofy in this.
I just imagine, like, Game Eggman watching that scene and just face-palming.
Yeah.
Just being like...
The thing is, Eggman can be goofy when he wants to be, and a little bit, like, laughy and stuff, but
I feel
not
like
to that
even
extent.
to this extent, he would have just been like, God, kill me.
Yeah. But regardless of the scene, this is why I went to see the film again in cinema, because I knew what to expect, and it didn't take me out of it. I loved it a bit more the second time than I did the first time, because when it came to the other scenes that weren't Eggman and Gerald, it was fulfilling. So I didn't mind that. And again, Gerald had some serious moments in it which I wish we got more of. I
wish we focused more on it, but I guess.
And I did wonder.
I guess someone on the writing team or the higher ups were just like, no, this is a kids' film. We need to have like funny dances and memes and stuff for the kids. And it's just like the movies do start to suffer because of it. This
is what I mean. Because it's a kids' movie. Of course, they needed to have something like jokey about it, and I get it, but
there's plenty of kids' films that have jokey bits, but then when it counts, it's serious. Like Big Hero 6 had very strong, serious moments, and I just feel like Hollywood executives just don't understand that. They just think kids only care about memes.
But the film is doing well.
Yeah,
it's insane. And obviously that's mainly because of Shadow, but even then the plot it's solid. It's a solid plot. Yeah, it's not bad.
As much as we're nitpicking.
Yeah.
But that's because we love Sonic.
Yeah.
So.
Because Adventure 2 is the one story adaptation that
a lot of us care about.
Yeah. It was Shadow's first appearance. Shadow has a tragic backstory. It's the only Sonic, probably the only Sonic character that has a tragic backstory. Yeah. So that's why there's so much love for Shadow, because he had a sad life. He had a depressing life, you know, and the movie really showed that really well. Yeah.
Moving on, right? So
going back to the final boss,
we're continuing with Eggman and Gerald.
No, I wanted to finish the final super fight.
Right.
So when it got to like Sonic and Shadow teaming up, and they were being really badass, because the gun robots came out of the Eclipse cannon, which was really cool, and that there's one bit in that scene where I wish the gun robots somehow formed into like a little bit of a bio-lizard looking robot, which I think would have been a nice little reference. Because it's nano. Because if the gun robots, I don't know what the gun robots were probably made out of, but obviously if Gerald had the nanotech, I wonder if the gun robots could have detached themselves to make some sort of big robot, which would have made that little segment a little bit longer. But but regardless of that, it was still an epic sequence. Them teaming up, them grabbing hands and spinning around each other to go after the next robot. And Shadow was smiling during that scene as well, and they were like being cocky with each other, and like this is it. This is them being friends. It was a nice side to Shadow that wasn't. He's not as brooding anymore by this point. He's come to terms with what's happened and wants to make amends and gets to. He's made another friend in Sonic. He hasn't had a friend since Maria. So Sonic has let him in again.
Yeah.
Like it made him feel like a person again.
Yeah.
So that's what I loved about Shadow in this film, even more.
Yeah.
And the super team up was just amazing, and them stopping the arc, it reminded me so much of Sonic X's version.
Yeah.
And the Eclipse Cannon slicing the moon up.
That's so funny. I was laughing so hard.
I'm so shocked they actually went with that. Because,
I love how it was just an accident as well. That's so funny.
But like, obviously in real life, that will cause cataclysmic damage to the planet. So, but in the movie lore, the moon is fine, like in the games. Seriously, it doesn't fuck up the Earth or anything. Seriously.
Oh, whatever. I mean,
it's not in half, but that's still
so
quite
funny.
a chunk of the moon off.
It's so funny though. I found it so funny. Sorry. I just love how they said the moon still needs to be destroyed one way or another.
It's like I'm genuinely shocked because I mean the original concept art though had the Earth getting shot at.
Maybe Amy
while Sonic and Shadow are still fighting.
Maybe Amy came from the moon.
Huh?
I know that sounds crazy, but when she's jumping up at the end, she has the moon behind
Oh
her.
yeah.
Like, what if splitting the moon in half released Amy or some shit? That's just a crack theory, but it would have been so funny.
That probably was just an awesome like scene.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe she's investigating why the moon got bloody split apart.
Yeah, probably.
Why is she hunting down Metal Sonics? I have so many questions.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah, the Shadow. No, what was I saying? The Earth I think was probably planned to get shot at, but again, like you said, that I think was deemed too dark.
Yeah.
But they probably had plans for chaos control, to turn back time to save Earth and stop the Eclipse Cannon from doing that.
Yeah, but I guess they just didn't want to do it.
Well, this is the thing. This is when some of the missed opportunities was a bit. That's what another thing that took me out of it a little bit, because why didn't Shadow use chaos control? Why were the inhibitor rings rushed?
He still took them off.
He still took them off, but they didn't explain why he took them off for
I guess it
general
was just
audiences.
more of a nod to it.
I get
rather
it.
Than I guess they were like, one person towards the end of the film was like, shit, we forgot his inhibitor rings. Right, just add a quick scene of him taking them off.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, because that's meant to show him like releasing his power a bit more, but like it's just it was kind of brushed under the rug as well. So it's just like, I don't know if they're also going to explain the inhibitor rings a bit more in like
the spin-off series,
a possible spin-off, which we'll get to in a minute.
Series.
But other than that, I like that Shadow got to have his redemption at the end, both him and Eggman actually, because Sonic couldn't hold the power any longer, so he ended up falling to Earth. And again, Tails and Knuckles, because Tails went after him, but then he started to faint, and Knuckles went after them both.
And it was so good.
Oh, there's something we didn't talk about.
Yeah. Every character felt useful.
Yeah, because when they were going into the facility to get the key cards,
everyone was important.
Yeah.
Even if Knuckles was like, "Can I beat someone up now?"
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Can I beat someone up now? No.
So that was really good. Everyone had their part to play, which was really good.
And it really solidified Team Sonic.
Yeah.
And I love how they were like just team.
It really made me.
It was so cute.
It really made me feel like I was watching something out of Sonic Heroes, somehow.
I feel like maybe this is leading on to Sonic Heroes. Like maybe the Metals arc will be similar to the Sonic Heroes one.
See, I've got my worries about that, but I will say that later.
Well, yeah, because Sonic Heroes has its issues, but I mean that gives.
It's not even that.
They have a lot of room to just mess around with it, because honestly, out of all the stories that I want them to mess around with the most, it would be Heroes. Just because of how split up the stories are, it wouldn't work as a film.
I have a different story in mind, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
When we get to the end credits scenes, we'll get to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm glad. So Shadow. Shame we didn't get to hear him, Keanu Reeves actually say chaos control apart from the game. But Eggman got to have his final act, and Shadow did as well.
And I love how Eggman, like, compared to the games, instead of being this really bitter person towards everyone, he was just like, you know what, if I can't, like, rule the world, I might as well save it. That was sick. But I
feel like he only did it to save. You feel like he started to realise that he actually had an actual friend, which was in Stone.
Yeah.
So because Gerald didn't care about him, which made him realise, oh, Stone actually was the one person that cared about me.
But like Eggman is a very like a lone person, and his friends are his creations.
Yeah.
And that just it just keeps feeding his own ego.
Yeah.
I like the differences.
Yeah.
Both are good.
Metal Sonic is like kind of his pet in a way as well.
Yeah, his son.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. Because Sonic looks at it and it's like, ew, disgusting.
Well, now that he has Sage, it's kind of like a little daughter. It's his daughter now because he confirmed
He has like a family now.
Yeah, so... But anyway, yeah. Right. Final act was really good, regardless of what we kind of was hoping to see more of. But yeah, overall, the film was genuinely really enjoyable. And then that really nice scene with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles at the end, and like saying sayonara to Shadow the Hedgehog. And the music. Did you notice the music?
Yeah.
It was the SA2 ending theme. There was a lot of music in the film that was a lot of
like from the games.
Yeah.
And, oh my god.
The Cityscape theme in when he was in London. I didn't notice that at first, but it's really hard to pinpoint it.
It's so good.
It's very subtle.
The only thing they missed out was the bloody truck.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame, but never mind.
That's fine.
Right, moving on. This has gone on long enough now, so we need to wrap this up. What is?
Hold on.
Yeah.
So one of the notes we had was the changes between the game. I do want to say my only main complaint, which is obviously it makes sense as to why this was removed, but I feel like the accountability from G.U.N and G.U.N's crimes was very muted in this film. They basically went, we don't want to piss off the US military, we're not going to make a commentary on it.
Another thing, they watered down.
Yeah, they watered it down because, one, they don't want to piss off the US military. Two, that's a very dark topic. To basically say, hey, the military gets rid of anything that is like a fear factor to them, right? In the games, they got rid of Shadow because they feared his power, right? Rather than thinking of a way to cooperate with him, they were like, no, we have to kill everyone involved, and we have to trap him away because we need to be the strongest military power.
Yep.
And that is commentary on real life,
but that,
in real life, like real life weapons, and it's a very dark topic to talk about. How like disabled people like Maria suffer from this, right? The resources that disabled people need are like stolen by the government for power. This is like active commentary that I love about Sonic Adventure 2, even if it's kind of crappily written at points. It's
very hidden in the game. If you really look into it, there's a dark story behind it. Yeah,
and they took that away and they really watered it down. Like it annoys. You mentioned the commander being like, no, don't shoot, it's a child, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion,
no, they're kids. He even cast Shadow as a kid. Like he didn't know how to Shadow either.
And then making it an accident, I feel like that takes away from the responsibility of G.U.N. It's just like, oh, the military is actually fine. Actually, I don't agree with that. But yeah, that's me getting political.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's fine. The film was still great. One of my favorite messaging from the game was taken away, but I feel like it was replaced by what we were talking about earlier about Shadow's and Sonic's relationship, and I feel like that was a very strong way of compensating for that. So that's fine. But I just wanted to mention that because it is something I loved about the original game. I feel a bit betrayed. But other than that, like, I feel like the other side of the film was so strong, it compensated for that loss, you know?
Yeah.
I had to say that.
No. That's it was another thing they brushed under the rug with how the government and G.U.N were involved in the research.
Like Gerald is clearly pissed.
Yeah.
Gerald was pissed in this film.
But by that point, because Gerald worked on research of Shadow for so long, Project Shadow. By that point, they thought that Gerald was starting to create like a.
Yeah, he was making a weapon.
Yeah, so they thought that there was like terrorism involved that the government weren't happy about.
And so
that Gerald was going to betray them. Yeah. Even though that wasn't Gerald's intentions.
Yeah, but like in the film, there was a bit of that. They were like, oh yeah, I made this space station for the government.
Yeah.
In return for stuff. And that does show the corruption of the government and the military, but it's very, very hidden.
Yeah.
And you do have to like pay attention to it. So there's a bit of that there, at least, right?
Yeah.
It's basically him saying, yeah, I know this government wants to create weapons. I know what they want, and I will use that, and I don't care if I die in the process, because I hate humanity now. I wish they explored that a bit more, but I guess it's too dark for kids, so whatever. I can't really complain, can I?
I'm just putting this back on because it just went off the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been yapping too long.
Exactly. I get what you mean with that.
Yeah.
Because like you've got other films that actually go into the whole like government shit though. That because you got the upcoming Captain America film going into the whole government stuff that's corrupt right now, and I think Superman might be doing that too. I'm not sure, the new Superman film. With Lex Luthor, you know? He's a corrupt billionaire.
But a lot of, like, shareholders and stuff are owners of, like, the military and stuff. Yeah. So you don't want to be pissing off your shareholders.
And it's a kid's film, so... Yeah. But, like, so was Sonic Adventure 2. It was a kid's game, but they still weren't afraid to do that. But anyway, But that is something that I wish we kind of gotten a bit more detail of, but
But they at least changed Shadow's character for it to make sense. Like
Yeah.
he's not as bitter because obviously this government isn't as terrible as
He's
the
just
Sonic Adventure one.
he's just sad. He's just sad. That's what I like about this version of Shadow.
At least they changed things for it to make sense.
In the game, he's more angry and more like revenge.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, and he's more driven to his like goal. So was movie Shadow, obviously, but there was something different about it.
Yeah.
There was, like I said, there was confliction, there was sadness to it. I don't know, but you know what I mean. I don't know. But I did like movie Shadow a little bit, and I was hoping I'd like movie Shadow more because it was a nice. I wanted it to be my favorite depiction of him, but I don't think it is. But I like him as equally as Game Shadow, especially with how Generations did Shadow as well. So
I feel like if they're gonna change the story, if you make like a different perspective and you like them just as much as the original, then you've succeeded. And it's great.
It was nice. It was nice seeing a different perspective to the story that still kind of worked, minus the changes. But anyway, now that we've got the whole story out of the way, that's our thoughts on it.
Our final end credits?
Final end credits. 2, in fact.
2.
But we'll do the first one.
Right.
So,
Amy and Metal.
Amy and Metal Sonic. We're just going to go straight into it because this has gone on long enough now. I'm not gonna lie. I genuinely did not expect Amy Rose or Metal Sonic because
I mean, if it was gonna be Metal, it would be Amy. But I didn't expect like how many was there? Like 20.
Loads of Metal Sonics. Yeah.
20 Metals. Why? It was like that's a strange take.
Got hair in my mouth.
Because usually it's just one against Sonic. And I guess they're like, well, Sonic already had his rival in Shadow, so like having another Sonic is just kind of like the same.
Well, that's what I mean. I didn't think they would go with Metal now because obviously Shadow's the rival. And I didn't think that they'd introduce another Hedgehog character because Shadow.
Yeah.
There's now 2 hedgehogs on the screen. So
I guess because of the uproar of people being like, oh, you skipped Amy, you skipped Metal.
Well, it made sense for Amy and Metal to appear next because it was.
Yeah.
I don't know if CD was after 3. It might have been before 3, but it was
CD
around
was
that.
Around the time,
it was around that time that it made sense for them to be next. After,
but then they went to Shadow.
They went to Shadow straight away.
I genuinely thought they were going to stop there.
But mate, I'm not complaining. I'm
excited.
glad we got Shadow now. Because I think it's made the franchise a lot stronger thanks to Shadow.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll be getting. And I'm hoping we'll get a lot more Shadow content in the future now.
Yeah, and he gets his inhibitor rigs, and he'll probably get his own spin-off. I don't know if he's going to show up in Sonic 4 though.
I was gonna say before we get to that, Amy Metal Sonic, cool, awesome. Amy Metal Sonic, they're in the they've been introduced now. Now, what's interesting about Amy Rose and all the Metal Sonics? Why does it look like Amy Rose came from the future?
Yeah, because that hammer's like, well. Future tech.
Yeah, but even what she wore like a robe to disguise herself for some bizarre reason.
Wait.
Obviously, I don't know if that was just for audience
there's
take.
There's this hilarious thing. Is it Maggie? Her name?
Who?
The human, the wife.
Maggie. Yeah, Maggie. I think it's Maggie. Yeah. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah,
I've seen this.
So,
the colours of her clothes.
Yeah, the colours of her clothes kind of hint at the next characters. So if she is from the future, will we get Silver? Will we get Blaze?
Yeah. So I genuinely thought they would have gone for Blaze because she's from another dimension. She could have been from Sonic's dimension, who was maybe a princess in his dimension. And she's a cat.
And then
imagine if
Eggman's not back. It's Eggman Nega.
Yeah, that exactly, right? So maybe they could do something like that and Jim Carrey's somehow Nega, but he's just played Gerald, so I don't know if they'll do another Eggman-y-ish or some sort of Robotnik character again, but
But we were saying how Stone
might
be the next Eggman. Stone, please.
If Jim Carrey's not going to come back,
even though he wants
to, but I think he has had his run now.
Yeah, please.
I don't know what more you could do with him now. But so Stone kind of does make sense, but
Stone would be cool though.
Would Stone want to rule the world though? Did he have that intentions as much as Eggman did?
I'd like to see him go off the rails, and I'd like to be him kind of like Starlight.
What, just losing his mind over Eggman, because he lost him, and he just creates this Metal Sonic for revenge against Sonic.
Yeah.
To destroy him,
Like, he goes the Starline route. He's just like, you know what, I respected Eggman, but I can do better.
I guess so, because Starline in the comics idolised Eggman a lot.
Yeah.
For a bizarre reason. And so,
I don't know, that would be sick.
guess Stone might take that same route.
Or maybe the enemies in the future. Maybe it's a Stone in the future.
Well, this is what I mean. Who's the actual enemy? Will it be Stone? and this is when we get into the Sonic Heroes story, because I've seen a lot of people sort of talk about it already.
Will we get like the big metal Sonic as a boss?
Yeah. Will we get Neo Metal Sonic?
Yeah, Neo Metal Sonic.
Because I do not. I'm gonna be honest. I do not want them doing Metal Madness. I don't want them doing Monster Metal Sonic. Not just because there was controversy. Not just because there was controversy in the game. Why he had that form. Because I know a lot of people would actually quite like him now, thanks to Generations. Generations, he's quite a cool fucking boss fight.
Yeah.
It's only because if they do a monster character, and this is kind of why I'm glad that the Biolizard didn't actually come into the film in the end, because I really want them. If it's for the final ever film, if it's for Sonic 5 or 6, don't know if they'll do it for 4. I really want them to do Chaos. You've got
want Chaos.
You've got to do Chaos. Come on, how sick would that look? All his forms when he gets the emeralds.
Chaos is a scary enemy.
Great, exactly. Like, imagine how creepy he would be.
He set the bar quite high.
Yeah.
In Sonic Adventure 1, like
he was a terrifying creature. Like
he scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Yeah, and that music.
Like, even
yeah. Like,
and that creeps me the hell out even now.
And the music, it's that fucked up version of that theme as Perfect Chaos when Supersonic's in phase 2 of the fight. It's insane and like
it's creepy.
He's flooded an entire city. Like he's probably killed a lot of people.
He's kind of like what do you call it? One of those cryptic creatures. Like you just can't tell what he's thinking, and that's what makes him so scary.
Exactly. He's a lost creature in himself too.
Like he is sympathetic, but at the same time he's terrifying.
Yeah.
You don't know what he's thinking. You don't know how he feels about humanity. You don't know how he thinks about anything. He's just aggressive.
But this is why I'm wondering if they'll. This is the thing. If they're gonna do a future thing, which is gonna involve Metal Sonic, I'm hoping the future time travel thing can still be implemented in a way for a later film. If they wanted to introduce Silver, now imagine this: instead of Iblis, Chaos. That was the destruction for his future. Who could have released Chaos? What was the reason for Chaos to even like be around for? Because obviously there's still
maybe something got a hold of the Master Emerald.
Well, this is the thing that because the whole the Echidnas versus the Owls in Sonic 2's flashback of how that war began.
We never cover that again in the film.
It's still subtle. It's very subtle to how that why they were after the emeralds, but they were hungry for power, and there was the Owls were trying to protect. Were they trying to protect the emeralds, or the Echidnas were trying to after the emeralds for their own gain, for whatever reason? And I'm wondering if they could somehow shoehorn the idea of Chaos as why they needed the emeralds. I don't know, because there's still a lot of that war. We don't know what's happened.
Like Sonic might go back to his world at
one
point.
Because they were after Sonic. There's something to do with Sonic's abilities, and this might explain about Shadow too. This is what makes me interested about Shadow later, because Shadow was the next end credit scene. So obviously we're gonna hopefully see, because they said, the directors I think and producers said that if Sonic 3 does well, they want to do a spin-off, maybe with Knuckles introduced as well.
And Knuckles.
Yeah, Shadow and Knuckles. Hopefully Knuckles has his rematch with him. But which means we could get more of a backstory for Shadow. Don't know if we'll see Black Doom. I assume we would if we're going to see more of his story, and how he has Chaos abilities without the emeralds being researched on. I don't know, but surely Shadow must have come from Sonic's world, or the black aliens, if they are around in the movie universe. Would they have gone to Sonic's world? There's a lot of Sonic's world. Are we going to see?
Or did the aliens take a hedgehog from Sonic's world and do something with it for it to be Shadow?
Maybe.
That's pretty fucked though.
Or bioengineered them to look like Shadow. Maybe, I don't know. Like how they bioengineered a lizard to turn into the Biolizard. It was just a random lizard. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Be a bit weird, but I'm hoping something a bit more interesting than that. But it's got to be something to do with their Chaos abilities, because obviously Shadow's meant to match Sonic in every way, almost, in terms of his speed and strength, kind of, and he can use Chaos abilities the same as Sonic can when Sonic has the emeralds, though. But Sonic has that speed anyway.
Yeah.
Because when Shadow moves like crazy, he has that speed energy, but it's his colors.
Yes.
But it's like, what are we gonna see in the next few films, are we going to finally see a bit more of Sonic's world? So are we going to see less of the human characters and a bit more of Sonic's characters, which I would like to see. Tom and that can still be involved and visit their world. Because we might see Stone.
Sometimes they are like the weakest part of the film. I will say.
They are.
But it's fine. It's a trade-off we get for Sonic films.
Yeah, and they've done well regardless. So, and I think I'm glad that they focused the third film
on Shadow. On team.
Because that was going
to on the team on. I wish it was less on Gerald.
Yeah.
Or if they did a better job.
Shadow and Team Sonic were the selling point.
Yeah.
So so they had to sort of focus their efforts on Shadow and stuff. But like, which is why I'm hoping that the Shadow spin-off can happen. I really hope it's a movie, not a series. I just feel like the Knuckles series kind of suffered because of it being 6-episode series, and they just didn't do much because of budget, maybe. Which is why I really hope Shadow deserves a movie, not a fucking series. Because will they be able to do enough for a series? To fix his backstory, and it plays on the whole "Who am I?"
and it's Shadow. Trope. I am all of me.
That. Yeah. But what? It's a subtitle. Yeah. Oh, they could do the theme. They could do the theme maybe. But yeah, great theme. I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping that
it's gonna be a movie.
I'm hoping it's a movie, and I'm hoping that
or at least if they do a series, give it more budget. You've got so much money. Come on.
The movie's doing really well so far, so it's like I'm hoping they've got enough money. And the budget for the film was only like.
It's not even that much.
It wasn't. It was only like 37 million or something like that.
Only 37 million.
Yeah, but
no, it's funny. It's just funny to say.
Yeah, but like that's quite. I think that's still.
Like compare it to like Mufasa.
Yeah.
Is that the name of the film?
Yeah.
Like compare it to that.
But the Sonic 3 has made over 300 something million.
Like they've made bank.
Yeah.
So put more budget, please.
So yeah,
Shadow.
I'm hoping Shadow has, because they can play on the whole like memory loss thing for him to try and discover who he actually was and where he came from. Yeah. So there's something that can still be referenced there.
Where is that damn fourth chaos?
There's another thing. They never said damn or anything like that. It was kind of a shame, and it was PG as well. You could have easily said it.
But what if they put it in a spin-off series like Shadow learns how to swear?
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have learned around Maria.
I wonder if he'll reference any pop culture films like Sonic did, but in the time period that Shadow lived in.
Okay, slightly off topic, but the YouTube series, whatever, like Asking Sonic or whatever, and Shadow like going to see Sabrina Carpenter with Amy.
Oh,
Hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, and they referenced the Latinas thing in the film because he was watching a film.
Funny. The novella was so funny.
She should get revenge, or something like that. She said something. She said something that made him like, I don't know.
10 out of 10. We're getting off topic.
And revenge guac. That the cinema giggled so much. I even laughed. I was like, okay, yeah, that set me off a little bit. But we're getting off topic there.
Anyway, film good.
Shadow spin-off, hopefully, and hopefully we get to see more Sonic's world. Why are there so many Metal Sonics? Will we see Neo Metal Sonic? Will Stone be involved?
They really went. You split the moon. We're sending there's 10 Metal Sonics on their way to your location right now. Like, how hilarious is that? Like,
because it gave me like Terminator vibes in a way, Like, so I'm wondering what's going on.
They literally went, you know what? Sonic's already met his match with Shadow, so let's just send 10 of them, because honestly, bugger it. And clearly one of them doesn't do the job.
I also, again, I really hope that if eventually, if it gets another trilogy, if Sonic 4 leads into like a bit more into Sonic's world and we get to see more characters, hopefully we'll see Rouge and stuff. And hopefully we'll see Blaze. Maybe she's like the royalty of his world.
And Silver. I know.
And Silver can still be involved.
I love Silver so much.
But as long as he's still from the future.
Aye.
Because Silver deserves a lot of love, and there's a lot of people online that want to see a lot of love for Silver. This is why people were hoping that Silver was going to be the end credits character. Because it is Silver next to be the year of character, I would love that so much, because Silver does.
Silver generation.
Silver's been undermined for too long, and he deserves his. He's
time in the spotlight. He deserves a game that doesn't screw him over.
And can you imagine if Shadow comes back into the next few films? I just want
to. And I want to see their rivalry
for the final film, especially if it's against Chaos. I need to see the three of them in that together, working together.
A triple dap up. Let's go.
Yeah, and their super forms, doing that like Team Sonic does, and everyone spin around them, and they go.
Maybe Amy will get a super form, and it'll be 4 hedgehogs.
I saw a really cool clip someone did on Instagram. It's this guy like freaking out, like, oh yeah, like sort of thing. I don't know who it was, but like it's in the background. It's the caption was when Sonic 6 comes out in like 2040 as like a joke, and the trio are together saying these lines, and the music starts playing. They hear His World, and the His World starts playing, and they say the dialogue they had against Solaris. I think was it'd be really cool to see. Imagine His World. We had Live and Learn. His World in orchestral, because it's already kind of orchestral already that we had. There was like a couple of versions of the song. So I'd love for like a special moment like that to really lead up, like an Endgame type lead up, where everyone comes together.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm getting a bit too excited here. This is the one thing that kind of brought me down with Sonic 3 a little bit, because I got too excited for the story, but they changed too many things. But I didn't hate it.
It's good.
Right.
It's a good film. Some changes. It's still good. It's still good, as much as we do have our nitpicks.
Yeah. But I'm
You're not a Sonic fan unless you have nitpicks. Really.
Exactly. There's always going to be something to nitpick. But this is what is so special about the franchise, because we love Sonic, we love Shadow, we love everyone. So I'm looking forward to seeing more. Because they want. I remember the producer or director saying if they get to do another trilogy, they want to go that like Avengers level type threat, which is why I'm hoping for Chaos. Chaos is that Avengers level type threat. So I'm really hoping that we'll get to see Silver.
Imagine if Tom actually dies.
They almost went with that, but obviously that was deemed too dark. They said,
yeah,
which
but
makes sense.
What if they're like protecting the people and they're trying to help, like Team Sonic, and they die in the floods? I'm being so dark.
That's
right
gonna
now.
be too dark.
Jesus.
I reckon the flooding thing won't happen, but like I reckon
come on.
I'm hoping there's some sort of catastrophe that requires everyone to team up to try and defeat them, and hopefully Sonic, Shadow and Sid would do team up.
Don't be cowards.
Please, just do it. We want Chaos. Chaos would be so great. I think Chaos as a final villain, the big monster villain, would make the most sense. So let's hope we get that one day. Definitely won't expect it for Sonic 4, but you never know. They could surprise us. So right, we've rambled on long enough now.
Amy and Metal, excited.
Amy Metal, very excited. Glad she's getting a lot of love. I reckon Sonic. I reckon I wonder if they're going to do a Son Amy thing where Sonic actually falls in love with her.
That would be funny.
They might not actually be cowards and actually go for it. Sega won't do it, so the films will.
Sega's kind of doing it.
So they're getting there. They're getting there. But yeah, we'll see that. We'll see what Metal Sonic turns out to be. Hopefully we'll get Neo Metal Sonic. I think Neo Metal Sonic would be cool to see. Will he talk though? Holy shit! What the fuck would his voice be?
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Let me know in the comments below.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Oh, no. No. What's his name? Ben Schwartz. Just get him to voice Metal Sonic. It makes sense. Give him a deeper voice, deep robotic voice.
Eddie Murphy. Screw it. Who cares?
Yeah. That'd be so weird.
Anymore?
Right. We're getting ahead of ourselves now, so we're gonna end this here. Right.
Bye.
Guys, thank you so much for watching the review. We've had to say there was just so much. I knew this was going to go on for a while.
Please yap with us in the comments.
Please, yeah, we'd like to hear your thoughts. We'd like to hear your review yourselves. What did you think of the film yourselves? Was there a lot that we said that you agree with? Was there anything you disagree with? Was there stuff that you were hoping to see yourselves? Yeah. Were there any little missed opportunities that we haven't said that you would have liked to have seen?
Yeah, we have still much to talk about.
Because I feel like this film could have done a little bit longer in length, just to add in the last few pieces. Yeah. But it's a kids film. It is what it is. So let us know in the comments below. Do subscribe to look forward to more Sonic videos coming soon, because I've definitely got a few coming in mind. Yep,
with the new Sonic Racing game.
New Sonic Racing game.
I didn't think we'd get one so soon.
Jesus Christ. I know. I didn't think they'd actually go for that ever again. So
Sonic Team Racing wasn't that long ago. Or am I just getting old?
I think it's 2018, 19. Jesus. I think it was a while ago. So hopefully the next one will be good. I need to sell it. So fingers crossed. So do look forward to more videos on that. I know I've done a few videos already, so I'll link those videos at the end. So do look forward to those.
Thanks for watching.
Please leave a comment. Do drop a like if you haven't enjoyed our review on this.
Yep.
And until we get some more news on Sonic.
See you next time.
Take care and have a fantastic day. Bye bye, guys.